Hello and welcome back to A to B Two Sides podcast with your host Yoel Yanyuk, where we are bridging divine minds to shift us to a divine paradigm. Today, just wanted to talk about something that I learned about going to chiropractor because, everything's connected. So if you have like, for example, you build something, a house or anything, and it's on, soft soil, you're not going to get a good result because the foundation's going to be off. So if you put in a good foundation and it's level and everything's straight, you'll have a solid structure. But if, for example, you have some issues developing, physically, your skeletal structure or something like that, especially at your feet or your ankles, it throws everything out. And basically your whole structure, your skeletal structure, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but basically that whole structure, all it's doing is supporting your brain and your nervous system, which is your antenna to the divine to have an experience in this reality. So although we aren't really the body, it's a part of what we are in this reality. We are much more than just the vessel, like you can jump into many different cars and you're not the car. You are the pilot or the driver or whatever vehicle you're using to get around, to be mobile in this existence. So it's the same thing. Your body is a vessel. It is a vehicle. It's a ship that is exploring this reality, this space-time dimension, the third and fourth dimension, space-time, time-space. And our awareness, it sits outside of that place, but it tunes into the physical vessel, which you use to navigate around, to have your experiences, to, see what's going on in this level of reality. So, like your brain is connected to the nervous system, and then it sits on the spinal column or cord. It has 33 vertebrae. It's a staircase. Is like a snake, you look at from the tailbone all the way up to the brainstem and to the pituitary or pineal, which is the first eye. And if you think of evolution in terms of, layers of complexity, then before we had two eyes, we had a single eye that perceived different frequencies, as the pineal has rods and cones. And it also produces, different types of chemicals. It's to do with melatonin production and serotonin and a few other chemicals as well. Actually, a lot of chemicals and hormones is related to the stimulation of this. I want to say gland, but it's like an eye. It's your first eye. So if you think of the spine as a snake and it had one eye, that would be that part of you that you use to tune in to and observe this reality. So on a more grounded level and perspective, you're basically, because your head or the world, the atlas is holding up, on your shoulders, all the pressure coming down on your spinal column and going into your brain, basically the pressure actually can stop or hinder like different parts of your body from functioning correctly. From your circulation to your nervous system, and the way signals pass from your brain down your nerves, down your spine, into the rest of your body. Like, it's pretty common knowledge, but we think that, like, oh yeah, our lives, it's pretty normal. Everything's normal. Like the stresses that we have in our life, like we have outside stresses and sometimes internal stresses, depending on diet and chemicals and things that we're putting into our bodies. And then we have resistance. So we have a level of resistance to the stresses in our environment. But once the stresses on the outside become more than the resistance, you start to have some serious issues. Not being able to cope with your environment that you're in, and also like to do with not getting the right sleep or diet, and habits that are created by stresses in the environment, which this is a downward spiral really if you're not aware. And so the body, or the vessel, is what the outside world, which is an extension of your vessel, is what you would call ego or Satan or the adversary, or it's just creating obstacles from when you're conceived to when you're born. Your life is just full of distractions and obstacles, and all you're trying to do is navigate and make particular choices. So if you look at it this way, Back to the Future, and like thinking about time travel, and if you do time travel, you shouldn't make too many major decisions that can affect like anything. You don't know, like just a small decision can change everything. So our awareness is outside of time and space, but we are making choices within time and space. And because time, as we perceive it, is linear, it's just a matter of perception, because it's not really like if you observe from beyond the linear perspective, you can see how your choices, your decisions, and the things that you do determines an outcome. Whereas when you're in the nitty-gritty, like grounded part of it, anchored into this world, you can't see, you don't know, you can only guess. And that's, like theoretical time travel. There's like heaps of different ideas about it, but you can time travel. It's just a lot different to what people think. So when you're conceived and when you're born, your body usually, if the coding, the blueprint in your DNA is fine, your body and the chemistry and everything is pretty much fine, and then your trajectory of your life should be good, as long as you make healthy decisions based on your awareness and your knowledge of your environment. So I guess for like the average person, it's pretty balanced. Like, you make some unhealthy choices, you make some good choices, you make bad choices. So, we just live our lives normally. But then you're just living an average life, and you're not really going above and beyond to what your actual potential is. So the healthier decisions that you make, the better your life should be. And the only way to know that is by doing what you think is a healthy decision for you. whether that's, just educating yourself on things that you're interested in that you think can help you. And I think for a lot of us, we're not really sure. I don't mean to speak for everyone, but from my own experiences, not really knowing exactly what my passion is, and then not knowing what I'm good at. And, it's life is trial and error, So it's about finding what you enjoy, and what you're good at, and then using that to help other people. It doesn't even have to be in like a huge, massive way that you help people. It could just be a little thing that you do that, makes all the difference. But yeah, it's about having awareness, and you can't have that greater awareness without losing the ego, because it's sort of it can't coexist. You can't be all ego and have awareness. It's one or the other. You can have a balance, of course, which is important to be grounded and to have the awareness of yourself and other, which then helps, your boundaries with yourself and other, then that helps you to make better decisions for yourself. And then it's about following what you're, doing your passion. Being, what are you passionate about? What interests you? And then using the introspection, meditation, and contemplation to discover what, the internal dialogue or your higher self is trying to tell you, even show you in your imagination what it is you should be doing. It's a pretty long learning process, and alchemists call that the great work. It's a process of transmutation, and what it really is just burning off anything that's not serving you, that's not what's meant for you. Because, like I said, there's so many choices in life. We can get distracted going on tangents and paths that don't actually serve us or anyone else. We can do self-serving things to no end, because we don't actually know why we're doing it, because we never stop to question why we're doing something. Whereas if you contemplate on why you're doing something, and ask, usually if you're doing something that makes you happy, like genuinely makes you happy, and it's not hurting anyone, it's good. It's good for everyone, right? Like, as long as you're not hurting anyone outside of yourself, it's not really an issue. So how's this related to your whole foundation, like I can't say the word, just look it up. Yeah, musculoskeletal system. Well, it's a foundation. Like, if you have a strong foundation in your mind, that will translate into your body as well, because your mind's so powerful that it has, complete control over your reality. It just depends on how much of your mind you're using, and if there's resistance. So outside stresses, resistance, which stops you getting into states of consciousness that allow you to heal your body naturally. And that depends if you're attracting negative situations, positive situations, and that depends on your state of mind and your state of consciousness. And, that comes from the thoughts you're having about yourself and others, and also, obviously, your environment, because you can control yourself and your thoughts, to an extent. You can do it, even if you're in a toxic environment, but you can only do it for so long, until you need to change your environment so that you don't keep having those stresses in it. And think that obviously, if you have the awareness, when something's not healthy for you, and then you can make a change. And so that's part of your foundation, like your home, your hearth, your heart, your hearth, where you surround yourself with most of your time, your downtime, and your sacred space where you do your activities, your daily activities, where you feel comfortable. I mean, some people might want to do group activities in the park, doing yoga in the park, or Tai Chi or Qigong or something. Some people might just want to do it in their own space, in their own environment. And, it just depends on the individual because we're all different. And yeah, it's knowing yourself, know thyself. Once you know yourself and what you're good at and what you like and what you don't like, then you can set up your life. Like you can have more of a direction, more of an idea in which way you want to direct your life and change the trajectory. And we go through cycles in life, for the first couple of decades, we're really guided by people around us, the environment, teachers, family, friends, and it doesn't really stop your whole life, but it just becomes less and less of an influence on you. The more you awaken to yourself and individuate and become that individual that you're born to be, so that you can then go on to, impact other people's lives in a positive way. But we can't do it on our own either. We sometimes need to reach out and ask for help, whether it's, asking a friend or family member or someone to sit down and talk through things, or to actually see a professional about, health concerns, mental health, or your physical health, or anything, that you think might be an issue. And you shouldn't really take it lightly. Like if you think you have an issue or a problem, then admit it and do something about it. Like take accountability and responsibility for your life, because while ever you're not, and you're just putting it off, it is just going to catch up to you anyway. And then you're just going to have a bigger problem in the end, because it'll just snowball and get out of control. And then, yeah, you'll just have more of a mess to clean up in the end. So that's where I'm at. Like that's why I went to the chiropractor, because I was like, well, something happened. I hurt my neck, and then I had been to physio on that when I was younger. It wasn't really helpful. And so I had some x-rays, and there's some, there's issues there. And, without the right tools, you wouldn't be able to know. So it's also about having tools, and that's what life's about. It's like collecting tools, like, coping mechanism, or, a practice, or a ritual, or a ceremony, or something that you do regularly to better your life, whether it's stretching, or doing exercise, or meditating, or, all of it, breath work, reading, writing your thoughts. There's so many tools that we have available to us that work. It may not work for everyone, but there's so many available that you're sure to find something that will work for you, as long as you keep at it. And I'm still learning, like we all are. We're all students and teachers here. And yes, I've just turned 30. So now I'm like, well, the things from the past, my choices from the past are starting to catch up with me already. And that's reflected in my health, my mental health, my physical health. And it's interrelated. Like your well-being, your mental health, it impacts your physical body, and your physical body, it then goes back and, affects your mind. So until you have symmetry and balance in your life, then it'll just keep going backwards and forwards, And I guess, in my last podcast, my first my first podcast, it's I'm trying to make the same point. We're out of whack, we're out of balance, and our bodies, which is our temple, our vessel, is of a reflection and a projection of our state of mind. And the world is also a manifestation and projection of our subconscious on a collective scale. So if we all just, did a little bit to better ourselves, it just changes the world. And that's that really common saying that is like, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think when you follow your heart and you do what you feel is right for yourself, that's a benefit to everyone. And it's not selfish to give yourself self-love and do what's right for you, because that benefits everyone. Because if you're being your authentic self and being truthful with you and honest with yourself, then it's only good for everyone. It's when you start denying your existence and who and what you are, you become delusional, and you become dangerous to yourself and the world. I mean, dangerous is a pretty extreme word to use, but even the smallest decisions that we make can put people at risk. Like you're driving a machine, a vehicle, a motor vehicle. We do it every day, but it doesn't take much to slip up and have an accident, and then it's going to change your life or someone else's life, or maybe someone may just lose their life. And it's an extreme thing, but it happens. It's not something that I want to manifest for myself or for anybody else, but it's, you're driving a big, heavy piece of machinery around at 100 kilometers an hour. It's pretty insane when you think about it. And, when you're young, you're not really, well, I wasn't as grounded and aware of myself. And as we get older, we become more and more and more aware of ourselves, and we become more careful. And I think we have a healthier respect for life and who we are and, what we're doing here as time goes on. And, when we're young, we're really resilient. And then as we get old, we become more frail, and we become, afraid. We become more afraid of our mortality. So it kind of reflects, like the more afraid you are, the more careful you are, you actually sometimes attract more issues. So it is about having balance. It's about being resilient, but also having a light heart. Because, the heart is weighed against the feather, and it's important to have a light heart. And it's easier said than done, because all of our programming and conditioning, it steers us to be frustrated and angry with the world. And sometimes it's hard not to be, because there are a lot of shit things that happen in the world, and it's not always easy, but there's a lot of nice things too. There's a lot of beauty and things to be grateful for. And that's something that I've been working on a lot, is just having gratitude, just to be grateful for the little things, and even, obviously the big things, like the fact that we have a planet that we can live on, and then that we have water and air, somewhere to sleep, and just basically my foundation of it is just to even have the experience at all. Even if there is suffering, there's still good experiences in that too. And being able to gain knowledge and have experiences is just at the basis of life, just to be aware and conscious, alive and breathing, and have consciousness. Basically, like to be aware is something to be so grateful for. And it shouldn't be taken lightly. It's a big responsibility. Like we are an apex predator as well, and we need to take care of ourselves and each other and our environment. Because, yeah, so easy to flip things around, and we can change whatever direction we're going. We can change it anytime. We just have to make a collective effort, and that starts from within. And having that realization and awareness of the self and your place in the world and what you need to work on within yourself. And that's how we rebuild the foundation and heal the vessel, which is our temple, our body, but also the earth is a vessel, it's a cell within a larger system, just as each organ and cell and nerve and everything in our body is part of the system. It all has a role and a place, and as soon as there's like a breakdown in that system, you know, things start to fall apart and deteriorate. Yeah, so I think that's all I really want to talk about and just mention that. So thanks for stopping by and being present in the now moment and just sitting back and taking it all in. Appreciate your time and your energy and your attention, your awareness, and your love. So thank you and take care, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe or follow and put the notification bell on so that you will get updates for the new podcasts that I release. Also share if you feel there's valuable information in here for anyone that you know. Like the video and comment any of your thoughts and ideas about what I've spoken about, and any ideas for other topics or things that you want me to talk about. Thank you. Much love.